It was one of those nightmares that you never want to go through. When they told me that I had to move, I couldn't believe it. I had put everything in it, and I didn't know that anything like that could happen.
This is the story about one of the most egregious forms of zoning abuse we've ever seen. My name is Ari Bartyoung, and I fought alongside Hinga to save his business from a morally bankrupt city council. For 30 years, he operated Hinga's Automotive on Ross Avenue in Dallas, Texas. But one day, the city decided they didn't want any more auto mechanic shops in that part of town. To create a gateway to a non-existent arts district, Dallas rezoned Hinga's shop, making it illegal for him to operate it on his own land.
You could be operating a business right here, a legit business, and then the city, if they decide that you have to move, you can lose your livelihood.
But by rezoning Hinga's shop, taking his business is effectively exactly what Dallas did. The top-down thinkers in the Dallas City Council decided that they'd prefer that his land be a restaurant or something else that would appeal to Hinga's up-and-coming neighbors.
I don't know Mr. Hinga. I've looked at his shop. It looks like a neat, clean shop, and everybody needs to get their car fixed. We all acknowledge that, but unfortunately, sometimes when you have a proliferation of these auto-related businesses, you're not going to get national credit tenants come in like Starbucks, Macaroni Grill, or nice sit-down restaurants and so forth. They're not going to spend $1 million or $2 million to be next door. You would love that live and let live, but it just doesn't seem to work.
The problem with zoning is that it is the opposite of live and let live. It gives governments, and by extension, neighbors and politically connected community members, the ability to tell property owners what they can do on their own land. In other words, it leaves government with immense power to restrict how people use their own private property, and it empowers it to punish them if their desired uses are inconsistent with the government's planning goals. But it doesn't stop there. For example, governments use zoning all the time to make it harder for property owners and builders to create additional housing, or even do something as kind and as simple as feeding or housing the homeless.
The zoning laws are very discriminative. For somebody who is a small businessman, it's hard to make it here. You can't have a restaurant here, you can't have a mechanic shop or whatever. That's ridiculous.
After fighting for years, Hinga decided to give up on his American dream and return to his native Kenya, where he started a new life from scratch. He sold his property and left everything behind for his daughter to run.
In Kenya, I can do what I want with my land. Here, the laws make it impossible for you to do what you want, because after 32 years in business, there's no reason why somebody can come up and tell you that you can't operate this business.
In the end, Dallas got what it wanted. It's not exactly a Starbucks, but Hinga's property is now a trendy group fitness studio.
It has changed me. It has changed who I am. I don't have the faith that I had in government, in the city, in people that, I lost my trust even in the American dream. I'm a skeptic now. You could be in business today, doing real well, and tomorrow they could close you down.
Hinga is not alone in his fight against zoning abuse. Every day, cities and counties across the country pass unconstitutional zoning ordinances that strip Americans of their property rights. Modern zoning empowers government regulators and planners to pick and choose what use can go where. This goes well beyond regulating to protect health and safety, like prohibiting a chemical plant next to an elementary school. These laws are often passed under the auspices of preserving neighborhood character or ensuring community harmony. But those are just euphemisms for the belief that governments can control every aspect of what happens on your land. In doing so, zoning laws cement in place many of the most problematic property issues we're facing today, from home-based businesses to housing affordability and homelessness, to even having a garden in your front yard. Zoning laws make matters worse. A good example is Seattle's so-called mandatory housing affordability law, which makes it less affordable to build low-cost housing in the city. That's because, for even the smallest builder, you must either include below-market units in any project or pay a fee into the city's affordable housing fund.
$75,000. That's how much they said this building permit would cost me.
Anita Adams and her family live in Seattle, where most homes are out of reach for middle-income Americans. To keep her family together, Anita decided to build a second home on her property for her kids. But because she lives in a so-called MHA zone inside the lines drawn on this map, it's going to cost her tens of thousands of dollars, a sum that goes well beyond what's legally permitted under the circumstances.
The housing that we're looking at building fits in a much smaller footprint and comes with a much smaller price tag.
Cindy Tucker and her nonprofit want to build a community of beautiful, Southern-style cottages with around 600 square feet of living space. But her town banned construction of homes under 1,150 square feet due to fears of less desirable people moving in.
I have a mailing list of people who are seriously interested. We know the market is there. We know that people are interested in purchasing these homes.
With the help of the Institute for Justice, people are fighting back. We are battling on behalf of Cindy Tucker to be able to build affordable housing in Georgia. And we're taking on similar zoning barriers elsewhere as well. For example, in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, a nonprofit homeless shelter applied for a specific use permit to open a drug-free, temporary homeless shelter in a commercial area of town. The shelter met all zoning requirements, but the town still opposed it.
We were utterly shocked when the Board of Adjustments of North Wilkesboro denied us for our conditional use permit because we knew that we met every criteria.
I think the issue here is not whether or not it meets the zoning requirements. I feel like sometimes it meets zoning requirements, but that doesn't necessarily mean it belongs there. And I think that's where we are. Or at least that's where I am anyway, is that I feel like it meets the letter of the law, but is it the best place for that?
The town used its zoning code to argue that a homeless shelter was not in positive harmony with the rest of the businesses in the neighborhood, and it banned it from opening. But with the help of the Institute for Justice, the shelter fought back and won in court.
After years of hard work with litigation and renovation, today is the day that the Catherine H. Barber Memorial Shelter gets to open.
The Barber Shelter is an example of a private solution to a public problem, finding housing for the unhoused. But without the help of IJ, the Barber Shelter never would have been able to open, all because of unreasonable zoning laws. In response to this widespread problem, the Institute for Justice launched its Zoning Justice Project to ensure that Americans like Hinga and so many others are not unfairly targeted by overly restrictive zoning regulations. We aim to protect the freedom to use property by challenging unjust zoning laws and advocating for land use policies that ensure that all Americans can peacefully and productively use their property.